Hello, WrestlePro fans. I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. Brace for Impact was a great show and a great way for WrestlePro to kick off 2018. We begin the night's festivities with pre-show matches as Creative Pro Heavyweight Champion Johnny Clash defeated CPA in a non-title match. Then in a triple threat tag team match, Team España defeated two members of Job Security and two of the Beach Bums. That was a very good three-way tag match. Then we kick off the main show with six-man tag team action as Reality Check, Kevin Matthews, Talon, and Chris Steeler take on Gold Champion Chris Avery Kuling, Delroy, and Habib. Now, knowing this match was on first, it shows you how loaded this very show was, because I really didn't think they'd go on first. Kuling, Delroy, and Habib end up defeating Reality Check when Kuling pinned Talon with a clothesline from behind. After the match, Reality Check continues the onslaught on Kuling, Delroy, and Habib. Kevin Matthews takes the microphone and he tells Kuling that, no one has been able to defeat him for 2 years and that he wants another shot at the Gold Championship and a match that any kind of match Kuling wants. Reality Check leave the ring, and just before they go through the curtain, Kuling has the microphone. He says, "Any match I want," and then he says, "Steel cage." Next up, we see UFC welterweight Colby Covington as he defeated Tyquil Woodley by knockout in the first of 5 rounds to win is it the UFC welterweight championship or one of those UFC belts? I gotta say, UFC does make great championship belts. Next, we were scheduled to see Chris Payne with Shining Edward Jackson take on Matt Sydal one-on-one. As Sydal was coming to the ring, he was ambushed by the Heavenly Bodies. Edward Jackson and the Bodies were telling Payne to pin Sydal. Even though the bell had yet to ring, Payne takes the microphone. He calls Jackson a dirtbag and proposes they have a tag match right then and there with Sydal as his partner. And Chris Payne and Matt Sydal defeated the Heavenly Bodies, Desirable Dustin and Gigolo Justin. Next up, we saw Moose defeat Sean Donovan. Then in a great singles match, Alberto El Patron defeated Falaba. Up next was a mixed tag team match, which saw Nikos and Nikki Ricos as they defeated TNA's Braxton Sutter and Alley. Next, out comes Eddie Edwards, and he announces that, as many were aware, that he was injured in a match with Sami Callihan, and Edwards was unable to wrestle. But out comes Bobby Wayward, who was scheduled to wrestle Edwards on this show, and I forgot what Wayward proceeded to say, but Wayward tells the referee to come in the ring and raise my hand. I've won this match by forfeit. Edwards then says, I'm glad the referee's out here because there's someone someone in the back there who wants to face you. And up on the screen we see a Canadian flag and the name Teddy Hart flashed on. That was a big surprise for the crowd. Teddy Hart really took it to Bobby Wayward in this matchup. Eventually Wayward pinned Teddy Hart by hanging onto the ropes. And I can't remember, I believe... I think they went to intermission right there after that match, unless I'm wrong. But up next, we had the six-way matchup, which saw Craig Steele defeat his former partner, Micah Jenkins, Joe Keys, Jackson 5's Buster Jackson, Richard Sharp, even though the name on the screen said Richie Romero, and John Hartnett. Very good match, six-way matchup. Next, we saw a great three-way match as Anthony Bowens defeated the Bad Apple, Matt McIntosh, and Eli Drake. Next up, we saw Danny Moff take on Johnny Impact, formerly John Morrison, Johnny Nitro, and Johnny Impact eventually picked up the win, defeating Danny Moff. And the main event of the evening, the first ever women's main event in WrestlePro history, Tennille Dashwood, formerly Emma from the WWE, defeated Angelina Love. Wow, this was one heck of a show, folks, and I understand more chairs had to be brought out to accommodate the fans. Hopefully, that won't have to happen again. In terms of, at least they'll have a lot of chairs ready instead of having to bring out more. Well, it's personal notes time. It was great seeing Mike McNicholas, Karen, Charmaine, the WrestlePro Sign Girls. I believe that was Jay Silva who noticed me before the show got underway. And let's see. We do have one memorable quote of the night. "You look like Pee Wee Herman." Kevin Matthews to referee Steven during the six-man tag team match. WrestlePro will have a double dose of action coming in the month of March. On Friday night, March 9th, they return to the Columbian Club of Union, New Jersey, and the following night, Saturday, March 10th, they return to St. Patrick's in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. No word on when they'll be back in Rahway. I imagine that's when the steel cage match between Chris Avery Kuling and Kevin Matthews will take place for the Gold Championship. I sure hope WrestlePro brings Teddy Hart back in the future. Really. It was great to be, back in this building for the first time in 2 months. I went to eat at Rahway Fried Chicken on Main Street after the show. Really, really good food over there. Great seeing Rob Feinstein and Tim for the first time in forever. And did buy some DVDs from Rob. Oh, I forgot to mention, at the WrestlePro event in Brooklyn, Saturday, March 10th, Madison Rayne takes on, is it Allie? I could be wrong on that. I know that was actually announced last time they were in Brooklyn back in December. I certainly am looking forward to that show, by the way. Love going to that place in Brooklyn. So, yeah, a great night. WrestlePro back in action, and definitely can't wait to go back to WrestlePro in the future.